Welcome to the DCCAP E-Summit Spring Edition, I guess. So hopefully everyone's doing okay. My name is Tim Deep. I'm the Customer Success Manager at DCCAP. I'll be hosting today. With Avalara, they're our platinum sponsor. So here's a quick video from them.
Join the tens of thousands of customers using Avalara's sales and use tax solutions to make their jobs a whole lot easier. It's time to get back to simple, i.e. happy you. Avalara, tax compliance done right.
So next I'd like to bring up Evan Wright. He's the Director of Growth, Cross-Border at Avalara. Evan Wright, he has over 6 years. Over the past 6 years, Evan has worked with thousands of businesses to educate them on the complexity of sales tax compliance and help them identify solutions to reduce audit risk and increase customer satisfaction. Prior to Avalara, Evan worked for Expeditors International, a Fortune 500 logistics freight forwarder, as an international operations manager. Recently, Evan's focus has been on working with companies that have a global compliance footprint and helping them grow and scale their cross-border business. And his topic today will be on conquering cross-border tax compliance. So welcome Evan to the stage.
Excellent. Well, again, really appreciate the time, and I look forward to talking to everyone today regarding the complications and really how to manage an e-commerce business as you start expanding internationally. So today, really a brief agenda. We're going to talk about the market opportunity and why we're starting to see a large trend towards cross-border e-commerce. There's new expectations of these customers that will be purchasing from businesses cross-border and what they expect out of your brand and a brand experience online. Understanding what the common pitfalls are when it comes to compliance and making sure you are facilitating that shipment and ensuring that it gets there on time and meeting your customers' expectations. And then I'll briefly touch on Avalara solutions on how to actually streamline that compliance obligation. So first, let's talk about the opportunity. Cross-border has become quite the massive opportunity in regards to global e-commerce. You know, as we've seen with the pandemic, it has really brought forth a huge plan of cross-border in regards to the volume and really moved it forward about 5 years. So in 2020, it was about $4.2 trillion in global sales online. And they expect, we did a study with Digital Commerce 360 and eMarketer, and really the overall value of the cross-border market will grow to $6.5 trillion by 2023. And today, most businesses that are based here in the US or really around the world don't sell cross-border, and really citing that, you know, compliance, taxes, clearance, and it just is too much of a headache for them. They don't want to be able to do that. But with the growth in technology and solutions out there today, really allows these retailers to be able to be compliant, sell cross-border, and create that brand experience online that your customers are used to here and domestically as well. So I thought this was incredibly interesting as I was doing some research on this. The global opportunity, as we said, is going to be $6.5 trillion by 2023. But just looking at the percentage of e-commerce sales by country, and here's the top 10 countries in regards to what they're generating from online sales. So China's global retail sales, 16% are online today. In the US, 7.5% of retail is online. In the UK, the third biggest market is 14.5%. So you look at these numbers and just the shift to e-commerce in general, we're going to see these numbers grow exponentially. So the UK only generates 3% of its global GDP via the online retail. So we, Avalara, conducted a study with NAPCO Research about cross-border, and really we went through and interviewed a lot of our clients about cross-border. And what we've seen is about 86% of clients today are selling cross-border. And the ones that were not, the 13%, 92% of those said that they plan to sell cross-border in the next 12 months. We're starting to see this market trend, across the board in regards to it is the fastest growing segment of e-commerce as technology progresses, and you can really create that local experience globally. But as you start to migrate to a cross-border experience, these customers have expectations, and we can all thank Amazon and some of the larger retailers out there who have put forth 2-day shipping and really created that extremely user-friendly experience online. So there's going to be 3 pillars that we talk through this presentation, and you'll start to see them come up again and again as we go through the compliance piece of this. But customer expectations, really, they expect a frictionless experience. I mean, who doesn't, right? Only 10% of consumers agree that brands meet their expectations, what they consider a good experience. So there's a lot of room for growth in this area, and brands that do this well really set themselves apart. Transparency. 95% of buyers expect to see all shipping fees, taxes totaled before they complete a purchase. So we call this landed cost. We all expect to know what we're going to pay at the time of checkout and not get hit with any surprise fees or hits at the door. And lastly, convenience. So 90% of consumers say that when they interact with a brand online, they want a convenient experience. So, I mean, as we can all attest, this is really something that is driving, consumer decisions online. So as we go through this presentation, there are those 3 main pillars that will keep reoccurring, but let's dive into what are the common pitfalls. So I have worked with a lot of different clients across multiple industries, marketplaces, B2B, B2C, high-end retailers to manufacturers and distributors. And really these themes are across all industries, regardless. So when you are selling cross-border, there's a few really highlighted key items that merchants and retailers need to be aware of when they're trying to facilitate these shipments. So selling cross-border, number one is obviously a tax calculation. So being able to calculate that local tax, whether you're importing something into the UK or Australia or Canada, you need to be able to accurately assign tax rates based upon the rules and jurisdictions. You need to take into account free trade agreements. In the US, we have the USMCA, which is the new NAFTA agreement. We have in the EU with Brexit and the new EU changes coming here in July, there are free trade agreements that apply to certain products based upon where that product is manufactured. There are duty calculations, so that's the actual tariff that is assigned. So this is different than a tax calculation. This is actually a tariff to import into a country. There are de minimis thresholds. De minimis thresholds are a actual revenue threshold by shipment, that if you exceed that revenue threshold, therefore the tariff applies. You have to manage exchange rates, currency rates, and lastly, you have to really understand what your product is to the global harmonization tariff code system. So this is what the WTO created to make trade more accessible. And we'll dive into the details of this here in a minute. So the top challenges faced by cross-border sellers, really, again, through that study that we did with NAPCO Research, we found that the top 3 challenges here: shipments delayed in customs, added supply chain costs, and accurately calculating international duties and taxes, And all three of these are really stem from one source. It is inaccurate classification of an item. So we call this a harmonization code, harmonization system code. So inaccurate classification really leads to delay and added supply chain costs. So maybe a few of you on the phone are like, Evan, what is a harmonization code? So let's kind of take a step back and just talk high level about what an HS code is. The harmonization system is a global trade language is a good way to think about it. So it is a numerical system that allows customs officials to understand what is being imported and exported out of the country. And 6 digits of that code is universal. So no matter what country I send this orange to, it'll always have the first same 6 digits, that's 080510. And this describes what the actual product is that is being imported. But each country will add on their own flavor of the last 4 digits here. So these are the national digits that are specific to the country that you want to import your good into. So this code is applicable for importing into the US, but if I was to import into Canada or into Australia or into Brazil, these last 4 digits would be different. And so what an HS code really drives is it drives what the tariff rate is going to be. So we will have tariff rates that fluctuate depending on, in the US, depending on the administration that is currently in office. It could be dependent on trade conflicts that are going on. So the tariff rate of these classifications will change, but the code itself does not change that often. So let's talk a little bit more about this, because I think it really helps and is really a huge factor in regards to cross-border trade. So 6 digits, again, are universal. So in this example that I'm showing you, I have a leather sandal. It's 640590. But if I wanted to import it into Australia, they add a 001 with a 5% tariff rate. In the US, it is 9067, 12.5% tariff rate, and Japan only has 3 digits. So another example, I have a loafer. This loafer is, leather with a leather sole, and in classification, there are 2 really key factors. It is material and it is use case of that product. So here's an example. If I wanted to import into Canada, there could be multiple child classifications depending on the use case of this product. So if it was classified to medical or for medical or ballet reasons, if it was classified as a female, or if it's classified as slippers, drastically changes what that tariff rate is going to be. So incredibly important to go down to that country specific level when you choose to import goods into other countries, to really accurately, again, because back to the 3 pillars, right? We want a transparent, frictionless experience to be able to understand what that true cost is to import goods from one country to another. You really want to understand what that tariff rate is going to be. So this sounds complicated. What are your options to actually assign tariff codes? A shipping company, UPS, a FedEx, a DHL, a freight forwarder, they typically do this service. It is a value add to win the shipping business, and they usually require a certain amount of volume of shipping in order to do the HS classification for you. You can use a customs broker. This is a third party that actually facilitates the relationship between customs and the retailer, so they can actually fill out your customs declaration. They do this, but it is highly expensive and highly manual. And then the third, common option that we see is a lot of companies just do it themselves. I used to be studying to become a customs broker in my previous role, and I can tell you that the book just to import into the US is about 1.5 feet thick, and it is incredibly complicated in terms of what HS code for what product. So there's a new and better way to do it: automation. So we Avalara has a automation tool that will allow you to easily take your catalog of items, description about your items, what materials are in those items, and then we're able to run that through our automation solution to be able to pump back to our customers what the customs grade country specific HS code is. So again, HS codes are, I would say, the tip of the spear in regards to cross-border trade, and really allow you to facilitate a good experience, because those HS codes are not only going to be used to calculate the duties and taxes in a shopping cart experience, but they're also going to be used to clear goods. So if you provide a good HS code to customs and to your shipping brokers, then they will be able to facilitate that good so it clears customs without any delays or surprise fees or rejected orders from your customers because they didn't know this was coming. So there's a new and better way to do it, to be able to display what that true landed cost is in a checkout experience real time inside of your e-commerce cart. No matter what cart you're using, whether it's a Magento platform or other, you can have that customs duty and local tax easily displayed, collect that up front from your client, and really, again, curate that brand experience that you want to facilitate with your customers. So this is what we call a delivered duty paid methodology. We're seeing a big shift in the market from delivered duty paid or from just shipping the box out and having your customers be responsible for paying any duties and taxes upon arrival. We're seeing a big shift in the e-commerce world to a delivered duty paid methodology, which really, again, highlights that experience of a convenient, frictionless shipping experience. And really, what we've seen is it increases conversion and repeat purchases from merchants. So I'm going to jump into how Avalara can help in terms of this cross-border trade compliance, because there are a lot of, with Brexit happening in July, the EU changes in July that they have an IOS, a one-stop shop for international shippers and importers. They were now requiring that all shipments going into the EU and the UK, you have to present tax and duties real time in a shopping cart experience in order to facilitate trade into those countries. So how can we help? Avalara, we are a global tax solution. We are a global compliance solution, I should say. And really, we got our start in sales and use tax and have slowly expanded into an end-to-end compliance solution, from helping our clients get registered in these jurisdictions all around the globe, to helping them calculate what their duties and taxes are, to actually facilitating those returns, the actual sales and use tax or VAT returns back to the local jurisdictions. And then there's some countries that require fiscal representation or e-invoicing. So we can handle anything from a transactional tax standpoint. We now have a cross-border solution that allows us to help our clients accurately classify those classifications, those HS codes, which then help drive that duty calculation. So we are currently the only provider in the market today that has all four pieces of this puzzle under one roof. We have some providers in the market that just focus on the transactional tax, and some that focus just on cross-border. And again, we are the only solution on the market today that does all four pieces. And when we talk about cross-border, there's really two unique solutions that Avalara is providing. We have a item classification, a really powerful artificial intelligence-driven solution that classifies HS codes, and then we have a real-time duty and tax calculation solution. So let's talk about how we classify items from a high level, because I think this tells the story very well. We have wherever your product data is stored, whether that's inside your ERP, whether you have a separate solution that is a PIM, or whether it's in your e-commerce cart, wherever that information lives, we extract those details, those catalog details, in a variety of ways. We can do it in an API format where you just push us the information, or we can simply do an Excel file, CSV file batch service where you just drop it through an FTP site. The engine then is going to take that information, strip down the important pieces of information, and predict what the HS code is. But because technology and the way HS codes are subjective, it could be, one code or the other, and that is the nature of the business, unfortunately. We pair that artificial intelligence solution with human expertise. So we actually have human, we call them our experts as a service, that come in, review what the engine provided, validate, and put that second level audit on it before we return those codes back to you. It just increases the accuracy of that classification, which is really important to our clients. So in regards to our holistic total solution, we have a classification service, right? You've seen this: extract information, engine does its magic, experts come in and validate. We pass that back to the system. We can also store those HS codes inside of your Avalara account. Now you have a consumer who's coming into your online store. They are reviewing a cart. They choose to check out. You send that transaction with all the transactional information to Avalara, line items on the order, ship from, ship to. We're able to calculate any applicable customs duty, import tax, sales and use tax in both a delivered duty paid methodology as well as a DAP. So if you want to just present it as an estimate, or if you'd prefer to actually collect that from your customer. What we see a lot in the B2B space is, hey, Evan, I don't want to actually collect the customs duty from my client because we're selling, a large volume of goods. We prefer just to show them an estimate of the amount that they would pay upon arrival. So we can work in both of those philosophies. We also have a solution that we are pretty proud of. This is a patent pending technology where we can take that information, so that real-time data from your e-commerce cart, and without actually pre-classifying that product, we can actually predict what the import tax and customs duties will be real time on that invoice. So what that's doing is actually looking at that data. It could be a variety of HS codes. The engine is going to select the most appropriate code and provide that back real time. So we see this a lot with customers with huge catalogs of items, part distributors. We work with a lot of auto manufacturers as well as marketplaces, so that they have a huge catalog. They want to sell to every country around the world, but it doesn't make financial sense to pre-classify their entire catalog. This is a perfect solution for customers that fall into that bucket. So what makes Avalara, different, and why we should be integrated into your cross-border strategy? We really are a complete solution. So we are the one-stop shop for sales and use tax domestically, import tax, so that's that VAT, GST. We calculate tax in every country around the world, as well as customs duty, and we plug in a plug-and-play environment into all of the major shopping carts, as well as have pre-built APIs and SDKs for those homegrown solutions. We have the most amazing content team. We have about 350 people in our content engineering and content research group. We do not source any content from third parties. This is our secret sauce. We have this amazing content team that is constantly researching tax rules, tax rates, jurisdictional boundaries, tariff content, all of the data that is driving that calculation real time. So if rules change, rates change, every time you're hitting our API, you're getting the latest and greatest content. The ease of integration, again, I touched on it briefly, but those pre-built integrations, and then flexibility and control. The fact that we are open and modular, you can bring your own shipping provider to the table. We don't force you to use one shipping service over the other. Allows you the best-in-class freedom to be able to easily maneuver within your e-commerce environment. So, really to summarize here, by really going through and checking the boxes on mapping your HS codes, getting a automation tool in place to calculate duties and taxes, a lot of these top challenges that customers are facing are easily overcome. So shipments getting delayed in customs, added supply chain costs, accurately calculating international tax duties, lack of product demand, customers rejecting orders are all solved through Avalara's automation process. So I want to take the time to just say that, again, curate that brand experience, make it a convenient, frictionless experience. And really what Avalara has solved is we've taken a historically expensive, inefficient, slow, and manual process and made it cost-effective, efficient, fast, and automated. I think that really checks all the boxes in regards to those 3 pillars that I wanted to hit on today. And if you have any questions at all, we have a website, so avalara.com/go global. And here's a phone number. Give us a call. We're more than happy to help and look at your scenario and specifically cater a solution to you. So I want to really, again, thank the DC Cap community and I really appreciate the time that you guys allowed me to come and speak to your community.
Again, thank you to all of our sponsors, Avalara as the platinum sponsors, Nexus and APS Payments as the gold sponsors, and Dot Digital and Chloris as the silver sponsors. That's it. That's all we have for now. And hopefully you guys will stay tuned for our next E-Summit in November. We do have E-sessions on a monthly basis on specific case study examples. And I think for the one for June will be more on the Jansan industry. So the janitor and sanitation industry. But that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for all your time, and we'll see you guys again. Stay safe out there. Bye, guys.